Monday, 18 days in the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Hello there, good morning and welcome. This is AM News on Adoatv Television. We're live all across the world on TV and online from digital address GA2260733. We're also live on digital channel 37 and 38. My name is Nanya Makolis. In our top stories this morning, the minority leader in Parliament, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, has assured their ultimate support for the passage of the LGBTQ plus bill. Also coming up in business, the executive secretary of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana has said that government should reduce taxes on their goods and services in order to promote production in Ghana. We've got details of this and many others comes up in a jiffy. Please be my guest. Hello again. Let's settle for the details now. The news is live on Facebook at Adoatv Television Ghana. There, you may want to join us with your thoughts and comments. To start off, the minority caucus in Parliament have declared their ultimate support for the passage of the anti-LGBTQ plus bill, that is a promotion of proper human rights and Ghanaian family views bill 2021. Addressing the parliamentary press call earlier, the minority leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, says that the caucus will support the bill's introduction, formalization, and legalization.
We, the NDC Minority Caucus, remain resolute in our opposition to the introduction, formalization, and legalization of LGBTQI+ in its entirety. In whatever shape, form, or character, we stand united opposed to it. The caucus therefore supports the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021, otherwise called the Anti-LGBTQI+ Bill.
According to the minority leader, members of Parliament have an obligation to protect the moral fiber of the Ghanaian society with the passage of this bill.
It is our belief that we, as representatives of the good people of Ghana, have an obligation to protect the moral fiber of Ghanaian society, to promote the cohesion and unity of our country, and more importantly, to preserve its time-tested cultural practices and beliefs, which has kept us together as one country.
Adding his voice to the argument raised by many on the violation of human rights should the anti-LGBTQ plus bill be passed, the minority leader said.
There are those who claim that the LGBTQI is a matter of human rights. Let me remind them that when in 1960, Section 104 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960 was passed, where were those rights? Where were those rights? So if you go back to memory lane, as representative of the people, as I said, Ghanaians agreed to punish any person involved in having unnatural carnal knowledge with another. Specifically, Section 104 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, prohibits us from having unnatural carnal knowledge. There are those who are overstretching those rights to absurdity, indeed incredible absurdity. May I ask, when they say that they are promoting those rights, is it to be placed under the UN Charter adopted in 1945? Is it to be placed under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted in 1948? Is it to be put in the context of the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights entered into force in 1976? Or the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights entered into force in 1976? We know, this minority caucus know, as a matter of fact, a matter of history that the world have passed through 3 generations of rise. The first generation relating to civil and political rise, the second generation on economic, social, and cultural rise, and third generation, collective solidarity rise. It did not contemplate LGBTQI rights, nothing more. Therefore, we cannot find legal space for those arguing on this particular matter rather than stretching it to those absurdity and absurd limits.
However, Mr. Idrisu was of the view that all and sundry must endeavor to protect the Ghanaian family views.
The collective morality and natural order of things rest on the hands of Ghana's 275 parliamentarians, majority and minority, so that when we pass this anti-LGBTQI bill and all the righteousness it represents, men will say 1,000 years from today that this was our finest hour in every sense of that expression. And we want to be recognized historically as belonging to this category of persons.
Subsequently, the Tamale South legislator assured that the NDC minority would not fail Ghanaians.
Commend those courageous members for making all of us proud and for making Ghana proud. I've heard that we are united, and I believe that we are united. Certain issues of significance either make or put asunder the collective or unity of a people of a nation at critical moments in its history. This is one, and the Parliament of Ghana must stand the litmus test. It will be a watershed decision for the country, and I assure you, if anybody fails you, not the NDC minority.
Let's stay a while longer because the minority leader has disclosed that the minority caucus of the 8th Parliament would demand a clause-by-clause vote on the LGBT bill during proceedings. He noted that they would ensure every member of parliament, i.e. that is 257, would get counted. He also gave some clarifications on Article 108 and the powers of the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament in the passage of the bill.
We in the minority will insist a clause-by-clause vote on every word, every accompanying sentence. We will insist on a vote, including amendment to any provision. Arguably, as is provided for in Standing Order 129 at the consideration stage of the bill 129A, Mr. Speaker shall call the number of each clause, and the clerk shall read the marginal note opposed to each clause or notes on top of each clause, and if no amendment is offered, Mr. Speaker shall, after each clause has been called, put the question that clause so and so stand part of the bill. I do not think that the Speaker participates in this process other than being a guardian of the practice and procedure of Parliament, consistent with the 1992 Constitution and the standing orders of Parliament. Indeed, Article 108 provides A, proceed upon a bill, including an amendment to a bill, that in the opinion of the person presiding, person presiding referred to as a Speaker of Parliament, makes provision for any of the following. I'm sure the Speaker rightfully and faithfully made a determination on the matter before the bill was introduced and accordingly referred to the appropriate constitutional review, the appropriate committee of Parliament to examine it and report back to plenary. I've heard even arguments to the extent that where does the Speaker stand? Let me remind ladies and gentlemen of the press that the Speaker of Parliament and every other Speaker of Parliament, past or present, are citizens of Ghana first and leaders of the country and have a right to espouse their principles and values on any matter of national interest or national concern. They are expected to provide nothing more than leadership. And those of you who are familiar with lawmaking, may I refer to my standing orders. It does not mean that Speaker Alban Sumana Bagbin will reduce himself when we get to the nitty-gritty of the consideration stage of the bill in accordance with the standing orders of the Parliament of Ghana. Be assured. And we want every member of Parliament, I'm not referring just to one side, to get counted and to stand to be counted as reflecting the aspirations of the Ghanaian people where they want this country to stand.
That's a report by our parliamentary correspondent Mary Korte. In that report, speaking was the minority leader of Parliament, Honorable Aruna Idris. So let's move away from Parliament because the Director of Faculty of Academic Affairs at the Research of Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Institute, Professor Kwesi Annan, claims Ghana should be perturbed about the rapid increase of gun-related crimes that sometimes takes lives and pay massive attention to it by authorities.
According to the director, transportation and production of guns around the country used for criminal activities require much attention and tackled with force by state authorities to, if not eradicate, reduce the number of such occurrences. During a speech at a 3-day dialogue to determine vulnerabilities and resilience in peace infrastructures in West Africa in Cape Coast, Professor Ainin stated much needs to be done in order to find out where the criminals get their guns from and how they are able to get them across the country and into the country. The Director of Faculty of Academic Affairs of Research of the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center further went on to explain that the dialogue feeds into a wider mission and vision of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center to add up to creating a peaceful and conducive environment in Ghana and West Africa's sub-region. As claimed by him, Ghana is beginning to see more violent response, more daring crimes, from pump actions guns to military-grade weapons, and on a rising pace, a societal acceptance of the benefits arising out of the violence and crimes. He added that the guns used for criminal activities and violence comes from within the country. What that means is that we need to ask ourselves very difficult questions that, if criminals get access to all manners of guns, including military-grade guns, then it means that Ghana has created a fertile ground both for the acquisition of the necessary tools for violent attacks but also for supply networks, he added.
In other news this morning, the Member of Parliament for Medina constituency, Honorable Francis Xavier Sosu, has rescheduled his intended demonstration over deplorable roads in his constituency to Monday, 25 October 2021. This follows the police correspondent that it cannot provide security for the demonstration during its initial date set for 18th October 2021. The police say the protesters must be deferred to a later date due to the upcoming Ghana School of Law demonstration and the regional tour by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Member of Parliament Francis Xavier Sosu has rescheduled his demonstration against bad roads in his constituency on October 25, 2021. According to the MP, the demonstration, which is to take place in the constituency, was to bring down government's attention to the poor nature of the road network in the communities and how there the situation was having a toll on community life. He also stated residents and motorists have had to deal with the situation for years and do not understand why the constituency has been left out of benefiting from a fair share of national development. I refer to your letter dated 11th October 2021, your notice of public protest and demonstration in accordance with Section 1 of the Public Order Act 1994 Act 491, we humbly wish you reschedule your intended public protest to Monday, 25th October 2021 to enable us to provide you with maximum security, the police says in a statement. Meanwhile, in a separate memo, the MP acknowledged the concerns raised by the police and promised to act accordingly, being committed to the cause of the law students and also hopeful that the president's tour will take him through some of the bad roads in Medina for him not to be surprised at our upcoming demonstration. I advise the chiefs and elders and people of Ahimensa Kweman, Damfa Doteyman, Otimbi and Amahia to reschedule the demonstration, the lawmaker noted. Also, Mr. Xavier Susu says all previous arrangements, time, venue, and route remain the same. He says the protest would ram home their demands and compel the government to quickly step in. However, he stated whenever there is a downpour, part of Medina constituency continue to flood due to clogged drain. Roads become unmotorable, and in some cases, residents have to suffer long hours of traffic.
If you just joined us, you're watching AM News on Adoatv Television. Let's do some more stories now. Head of Public Relations at the Controller and Accountant General's Department has affirmed the directive of the department not to withdraw its directive from freezing salaries of public sector workers who haven't registered for the National Identification Authority (NIA), hence do not have their Ghana card. Mr. Didos explained by Section 8(4) of the Public Financial Act Management Act 2016 to which mandates among the functions to receive and disburse and provide secure custody of public funds. He further argued that the department was dealing with over 300,000 and 500,000 workers, which needs accurate measures to ensure the integrity of the payroll at all times. Mr. Dosso educated the public sector workers to acquire their card before the deadline December 1, 2021. The directive, which was given on Tuesday, October 12, 2021, warned that government workers without ID would not be paid from December 1, 2021. It says, and I quote, "We appreciate the concerns by unions because they are our major stakeholders, but we would say that we need to urge our colleague workers to avail themselves to go through the process of registration. For now, the deadline is not today, and also the best thing to do is to avail themselves," unquote, he added. In a health-related story this morning, every woman is being known to have some percentage of mental disorder. Mood swings are emotional feelings bound to occur among humans. However, persons living with bipolar disorder experience a lot of mood swings and emotional stress, known as manic depressive illness. Many conversations and analysis has been made, and research has finalized that bipolar patients live among us. The following report by Nanaya Ado tells us more.
Bipolar disorder is a serious mental illness characterized by extreme mood swings. It includes extreme excitement episodes or extreme depressive feelings. It is common amongst people between the ages of 18 to 35. In bipolar disorder, the dramatic episodes of high and low moods do not follow a set pattern. Someone may feel the same mood state, depressed or manic, for several times before switching to the opposite mood. This disorder has a lot of symptoms, which includes extreme happiness, hopefulness and excitement, irritability, anger, fits of rage and hostile behavior, restlessness, agitation, rapid speech, poor concentration and judgment, less need for sleep, unusually high sex drive, amongst others. All that said, it is a chronic condition that involves intense mood swings which disrupts everyday life from extreme highs to extreme lows. This condition has two main types which depict its seriousness. These types include bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 is characterized by one or more disorder episodes of mania or mixed episodes, which is when you experience symptoms of both mania and depression. Bipolar 2 is diagnosed after one or more major depressive episodes and at least one episode of hypomania, with possible periods of level moods between episodes. According to research, a lot of people are living with a bipolar disorder, but it's seen to be a normal. A lot of people cannot state the discrepancies between depression with bipolar disorder. Speaking to White Nana Aljima, a psychologist at the Pantang Mental Hospital, he elucidated on bipolar causes and its symptoms and how to deal with people with bipolar disorder.
Bipolar disorder, formerly it was known as manic depression. So this is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings, okay? That can include emotional highs, okay? Yeah, so the emotional highs here could stand for mania or hypomania and low depression. When you become depressed, okay, you may feel sad or helpless and lose interest or pleasure in most activities. Just as I've said, when your mood shifts to mania or hypomania, that is less extreme than the mania, you may feel euphoric. You see, most of the times they feel euphoric, so full of energy or unusually irritable. Do you get it? So this mood swing can affect your sleep, even your energy, your activity, your judgment about the world, behavior, and even your ability to think clearly. That is for the bipolar. Episodes of mood swings may occur lately or rarely, okay, multiple times in a year. So in a year, one would experience these mood swings consistently over a year, whilst most people will just experience some emotional symptoms between maybe the episodes. Some wouldn't even experience any of them. Bipolar, although it's a lifelong condition, okay, it takes a lot of time. Although it's a lifelong condition, you can manage your mood swings. Maybe go for treatment. In most cases, it is treated with medications and psychological counseling, also known as a psychotherapy. You can talk about increased activity, okay, energy or agitation, and you realize that this person, that is not how he is, or that is not how she was. But you realize that it got to a point in time, he has increased the activities that he usually does with a lot of energy. You can talk about decreased need for sleep. They don't like sleeping. They sleep a little, then they open their eyes. They don't like to sleep. Unusual talkativeness, like every time someone who doesn't talk, now you realize that the person talks so much, like so much. Distractibility is another symptom you have to look out for. At times some are weird, like someone that you know, this is how you know him, but it gets to a point you realize that he's acting in a weird manner. You can also talk about exaggerated sense of self well-being and self-confidence. However, a manic or a hypomanic episode has to have occurred for a person, okay, to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Depressive episodes of bipolar disorder should not be treated as major depression. That is one of the mistakes most people do. You don't treat a bipolar disorder as a major depression. No, it's two different things. As antidepressants, okay, can trigger manic episodes in people with bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is less common than major depression. It's very, 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 very not common, but often far more impairing.
Away from that, let's do some latest in the world of business. Government has been applauded for the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative. However, in a yet to be aired interview by the Business Desk, the General Secretary of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana, Mr. Samuel Atu Agri, noted that the Planting for Food and Jobs should not be from the farm to the market, adding that Ghana should grow what can be processed for export as a country.
Planting for food shouldn't be from the farm to the market. That has been the essence, where we are planting a lot, put it in the market, and feed the people. When it goes off, when the season is not good, when we don't have irrigation, when the rain doesn't fall, what happens? There will be a challenge. And therefore, some of these challenges have been felt this year. Products that are supposed to be harvested within certain times have been rained off by the rain, and those that are supposed to be harvested because of the rain pattern, they are not able to dry up for the harvest to be done. So you look at these ones and you say, is it a good venture? Yes. And then if they're getting the youth into producing more, that is a very good thing to do. We have agronomists also coming into the system. We need to employ them to give the technical advice to these people who are planting for food and jobs, so for them to be able to put their expertise on the field, because we have a lot of them unemployed. This is the time that we need to employ them to offer those expertise to them and then ensure that we benefit. But the most important thing, me as an industry player, if I'm looking at what is coming into the system, then I will ask that people should grow what can be processed for export. As a country, this is what we should be looking at, not by planting anything. If we are planting tomatoes, if we have a glut, what happens? So, but we should grow tomatoes that someone can easily buy and process them there, because if you plant tomatoes that has high viscosity, it becomes very difficult for them to process it. So the needed seeds ought to be given to these people. The rice sector, we are almost going out of it. In future, we know what we want, and therefore these scientists and all that, and the farmers themselves, they are working towards it. Irrigation farms are being set up for this rice sector. So that we know, with a little more work done, we should be able to overcome it by putting up more silos into the system to be able to be sure that we are able to mop up the paddy rice and store them for some times, dry them up, and then release them as and when we have to release.
Speaking in that report is a General Secretary of the Food and Beverage Association of Ghana. This will be our package for today. We'll bring you updates of these stories in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, you can visit our website www.adwanewsonline.com for more news. From me and the rest of the team, thank you for watching. The journey of the Awareness Month of breast cancer is still on and continues this week. Do join us on AM Ghana Show as we deliberate on real issues bothering Ghana. My name is Nanya Macolliston. Please, as always, stay safe. Good morning.